Really?
Really? I am just a figment of your imagination.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Deep State Annex. Everyone unmute and say hi. Hello, Sydney.
Hey, everybody.
Hello.
How you doing?
Got Slim Cyborg, got Mommy, and we've got Brainless Steel. And we are going to be discussing space deniers. Yes,
Wait,
they
what is-
do exist.
Wait, what
You're
is
gonna
this
be
space that you
discussing
speak of? I've never heard
What's
of
this space? I've never heard of
What
this
is-
thing called space.
Yeah, what is space?
What is it?
I don't know.
Anyways, I'm sorry. I'm
wait.
sorry.
Oh wait, is that what's in between my head? In between my
Yeah,
ears?
that's what's between your ears, Brainless. Yes, space. Mhm.
Is that
Not
the
empty space.
that is the thing that happens when I'm outside of you before I come back inside of you? Never mind, sorry.
There's a
I'll-
there's a space in between
there's a
you.
space.
Yes.
Yeah, there's okay.
Yep.
Oh, this
And of
lovely
course, they're
person.
flat earthers, too.
My
Mhm.
research of the last
Always.
year has led me to the conclusion that not even low Earth orbit is possible, that the International Space Station is a hoax, and all manned space travel is fake.
If you speed things up, it makes it look more ridiculous, but that doesn't make it
Correct.
less true.
First,
Right.
though, let's have a look at the International Space Station. I want to talk about some of the anomalies I see there. For the
Of course.
inside of the International Space Station,
Oh.
there are a couple of zero-gravity tricks that they use to fake it. The first is
Really?
they have
Okay.
complete
The only
mock-up
thing
of
that
the
you're
International
saying.
Space Station built on the inside of an airplane. And
Nope,
that
it's
airplane
not.
does
Yeah.
Not big
Okay.
enough. That plane is not big enough for the International Space Station to be built inside of it. Sorry.
And the
Isn't it
weightlessness
the-
in there is not cannot be sustained long enough.
No.
bunch of
Just like
rises and falls. It does a parabolic, upside-down parabolic trajectory.
Which only
that
lasts how
simulates
long?
zero gravity.
Upside
The other
down?
parabolic
No.
And the parabolic lasts only what, 30 seconds or something?
20 to
like that?
30
Less
seconds,
than-
depending on how
Sure.
big it is.
And I
And
was
then
just
you're-
giving them the benefit of the doubt
Yes.
was 30 seconds.
The best
so-
video to watch, and I did a video on this a while ago, but it was the OK Go video where they're in the plane. They did a behind the scenes video of what they took for them to film in the Vomit Comet. And even they could not edit out where double G gravity started and where it ended between
Totally.
each parabolic or
Of
parabola.
course.
You could
Yep,
slightly
there's
see
a-
gravity taking a hold on them in each.
There's
in
a
each little
penalty
frame.
you pay for those arcs.
Yes.
The zero gravity is with suspension in front of a blue screen.
You couldn't
And
do this on
they
a
use-
parabolic flight.
No, you
Hey,
could not.
Titan. And hey, Sydney, and everybody in the side chat.
And not to
Yeah,
mention,
Hello,
well, go get-
Titan.
Hi,
Use
Titan.
that trick for extended periods of time for longer than 45-second segments. But they can't move around as much. They can't do the acrobatic flips and rolls in the extended mode. So there's
do.
The
They
thing is, there's
literally-
videos. Yes, there's videos out where they are doing flips and somersaults. There's the one where they're doing the boost back, and they're literally
there's-
you see astronauts going from one end to the other like they're on a slide because they're
How-
still, but the ISS is moving.
How do they mimic the fucking balls of liquid that are there that
Yeah.
they're able to
Mhm.
manipulate longer than 30 seconds to
Mhm.
ingest them and or to knock them into another place or to do
Right.
the weird, crazy, fun little experiments? And a lot of these times,
Yeah.
these idiots don't realize they're doing these experiments to actually prove something. So when
Yes.
they're claiming this is fucking fake, no, they're doing this for a reason.
And they're
They're
doing
not
it
just
for
having-
minutes at a time.
And it,
That's not possible on a harness or on a parabolic flight.
Mama,
And
what-
companies actually pay NASA a good amount of
Mhm.
money to have experiments done up there and
Yes, they
NASA
do.
uses that to partially finance its operations.
Hmm.
And if
Have
you notice, they
have
mention
s-
a blue screen and not a green screen.
Have you seen the footage that they had recently about all the different animals that were in space? Well,
Yes.
sorry, up there. I don't
Mhm.
remember if it's low or, but
Low Earth orbit.
them, they're them reacting to all that
What?
crap. How,
Yeah.
dude, worms do weird things, and spiders and a handful of other things do really, really,
Hey, Al.
weird things. Hey, Al.
Hi, Al.
You can
That
join.
they've experimented on. And the only way for these
Oh.
things to be able to do those things is to be in the way that they're doing it. Again, they're not showing you 20-second videos of this. They're showing like snails.
They got multi
snakes.
minutes of it.
Yeah, exactly.
There's
some
the
like-
one. There's the longest tour. I forget what it's called now, but it's only got like 2 cuts in it, and the longest is like there's like 41 minutes in between the 2 cuts.
Yeah.
There's like 41 minutes of nonstop. The astronaut going in and out of alcoves and things that could not be shot on an actual plane because there's not enough room for them.
Yeah.
And not enough
Full
time
motion
for-
mode where they can
Right.
fully move around, and that's faked into plane. And then there's suspended or extended mode where they're suspended by wires in front of a blue
So-
screen. They don't move.
Parabolic flight would never let you be able to do any of that stuff
No.
constantly like that. If you look at the videos of people in parabolic flights, they're able to
No.
do a couple things, but they're not able to like do these straight things, right?
No.
It
No,
does
because
not
then
go in the
why-
Their
same.
room is very limited in there.
Yeah.
And then why are the cords actually doing what they should be doing in zero
Why do the
G?
necklaces float? Why do the cords float? There's
And I can see that
things they
dude's
never
junk-
mention on there.
I can see that dude's junk floating in his pants for sure. Anyway, I'm just
Around
kidding. But anyways,
as much,
no,
but
but
they
it's
can-
yeah.
Look, they highlighted it.
Make the scene
That's
last
not
a longer
yeah,
period
exactly.
of time. In this scene, Chris Hadfield bends down in order to adjust something, and you can see on the back of his shirt a couple of upticks on either side where you would expect wires to come in on either.
No.
That's
because
the-
gravity is
okay,
not
okay.
pulling it down.
Yeah, that's one example, and or it could be a digital anomaly
Yes.
Be-
Because he's
the-
moving. And he's
Yeah,
also in a
and-
red shirt, if you notice.
yeah,
that's
and
gonna
so
enhance
And
it.
look, look how the compression artifacts are making the red
Oh, it's
bleed.
terrible. Yeah,
That's-
that's what I'm
that's what
saying.
I'm
It's
get-
terrible.
Thank you,
No, I'm
Commander,
sorry,
for
Slim.
saying that the
Mhm.
proper.
Yeah.
No, but that's exactly what I was getting at.
It's a
Commander,
bad
was-
quality video to begin with that he's examining.
Yeah, and so of course you're gonna have these anomalies, or it
Yes.
to not look 100% right. Because how many gazillions of miles or whatever the fuck it is this information going back to the Earth?
Right.
They have a very
Well-
limited bandwidth.
Yeah,
At
of
least the
course.
older
Mhm.
videos limited bandwidth.
That and what these people don't take into account is digital. If the background is static and something's moving, there's going to be glitches and artifacts happening, just like there is on terrestrial TV.
works.
Yeah, that
Exactly,
happens on
Tilly.
terrestrial TV. Football games, that happens. Different things like that too. Where they're running in the background static. That does not mean fake.
You're trying to take up the least amount of space possible to
Mhm.
send information, and so the computer system's algorithm and or the way that it works is it tries to not move anything else in the screen until there's something
Right.
moving in front of it, and then it goes and it tries to adjust to that.
Yeah.
So it doesn't.
It just
want there
saves
to
the
be that
background
moving.
if it doesn't change. If the background doesn't change,
Oh, nice
then
Titan.
it basically says, okay, the data from last frame is good for this frame
Yeah,
everywhere
and
but here.
So then
Inside of that
that's
harness in order to support.
That's right. I love it.
keep
I
going, keep
fucking
going,
love
keep going,
it.
keep going, keep
Of
going.
course, they've computer graphicked out the supporting wires. You can't actually see them, but
No,
what
they did not.
very slight
What is computer
discoloration
graphics
where
out?
it's slightly lighter
And-
and then it goes slightly darker. And
See, one
that's
thing they
compression.
forget
there's a
too.
couple-
The other thing they forget, though, you can't be hung up by thin little wires like that. It will not support that body. His body
Yeah,
would not,
not
be
for
supported by a
very
couple of thin
long.
little wires.
And,
no.
and
He's
then
probably 200 pounds easy.
Yeah.
So
hey, Beck.
it's
Even
not
though
going to
yeah.
work for a long
Mhm.
time. Hi, Beck.
anyways, once again, the best fucking proof of this not bullshit is if the government was trying to hide it, they would not make these mistakes, you idiots.
No, they would not. They
would
would
have
not.
figured
You're
out a-
right.
yeah.
You're right.
And it's not a nod for the conspiracy theorists to figure it out. I hate when they fucking say that.
No,
They're like,
it's not.
oh, they turned the rock around so that it says 7B on it so that you can figure it
Right.
out. And then
Right.
Stanley Kubrick.
It's right in your
the-
face,
Yeah,
man.
and they're like,
That's exactly what they
did it.
do.
No, why would they do that? That's not how fucking the government trying to fool you works. That's not how any of that works. Like, you dumb cunts. Like, okay.
Of things. First of all, it shows that this isn't live from space. They're often portraying that this is live. Of course, these things are fully choreographed.
Except
and
we have
edited
like
in
8
advance to
live
make
feeds
sure that
from space.
We
24
do have
hours
there
a
have
day. I mean,
yeah.
literally, we can look at like 5 or 6 or 12 of them right now that are either satellites looking at or from the ISS. And what have they been doing recently? Going and fixing things on the ISS, right? And so they've been doing a lot of.
And
live
honestly, even if it was choreographed and they filmed it on the ISS and edited it together later, does not mean that it was all shot in a movie studio or on a parabolic plane.
And then what just happened that all the fucking flat earthers fucking said we weren't gonna fucking do?
Yeah.
Somebody put a thingy-mabobber on fucking the moon recently. Yes, did it land on its side and did it not work?
Yes,
right?
it did land on
Fuck
its
yeah.
side.
Fuck yeah.
And that happens.
But
People
that means
people expect
real.
things to come off perfectly every time.
Well,
To be
no,
perfect with all the money they have. It's like that's not how that works.
Well, and
No, but
that's
also,
what
if it was fake,
The
it would have worked.
Yeah.
if the flat earth is fucking fake, or I mean sorry, if the globe is fucking fake and they were trying to hide the flat earth, then that would have worked. So once again, if something doesn't work, it proves that the world is trying to get it right and it's not fucking all fucking fake. Because if
The
you play a video,
Apollo-
go ahead.
I'm
Yeah.
sorry. The Apollo, where the Apollo module takes off from the moon, they only
Yes.
got one shot in all the Apollo missions where the camera actually tracked right.
Actually tracked right. Exactly.
there's nothing
Oh,
too obvious that you can see that gives away that this is a suspension in front of a blue screen hoax. The other thing it
And they
shows
don't
is that
use
this
blue
is not
screen
raw
for that, you dumb
footage
cunt.
coming to us. This is edited stuff. This is supposed to be a legitimate space program. This is supposed to be the International Space Station, and we should be able to see whatever's going on. But they edit things because the whole
Oh
thing
my
is
God, editing. Oh,
It's
heaven
one
forbid things are edited.
And
Oh
actually,
my
how often are these things
goodness,
really edited?
Someone is paying
Someone pays
attention-
NASA money to do an experiment for a commercial company because
God.
NASA does do that, where they take money to do experiments, right? And you want your information broadcast to the entire world if you
Oh no, they
wanted
think
the
it should
info
all be
confidential.
one continuous, uncut, start to finish live stream with no
Also-
imperfections.
But
It's not
also,
going to happen.
too bad that somebody's paying attention. That stuff looks good.
Yeah.
So yeah, exactly. Back in the day, they were not going to just show you 12 hours of uncut footage.
No.
And the other thing is, when you go and make a production of something, you will run it through your different software to like highlight certain things. And, you know, like again, what homie said was, of course we have to manicure or we have to Photoshop the images we go through.
Oh, yeah, Robert
Because
Simon.
nobody-
Yeah.
Yeah, nobody gives you raw footage. You never get an RAW image
Yep.
of
Yep.
anything. You get it put
Yeah.
into a process system, and then they like edit it some way, shape, or form. Even if they save it into a JPEG from there
Yeah.
or a
Yeah.
PSD or whatever, it still went through another process to get saved. It still is changing the formatting and how
Yes. Yes.
Yeah,
so
and
everything
even if you-
has
Even
But-
if you just send it through a filter to make it look better.
Right.
Yeah. Well, and that was exactly, Commander. And then of course, if you're going to open it in Photoshop to save it to another format, you might as well change the contrast, or you might as well
Right.
make it brighter. You might as well change a
It's
couple things to make it look.
it's like
more
they're saying too with
attractive.
these planets when they photograph the planets and stuff, or through telescopes, they don't look pretty. They make them pretty for public consumption.
Sure,
They
exactly.
brighten
That's
up
what
the
I'm saying.
colors and they punch up things to make it look nicer.
Yeah.
Yeah, you want the contrast, and especially if
Yes.
you're if you're doing something about the gases coming
Scene.
off
Chris
of a
Hadfield on the right is going back. He's going back, and then he just stops. That's
Yeah,
an
you know
odd
why? There's
mo-
footholds down by underneath their feet
Oh yeah, that's
for
how
them to
they're
grab
holding it.
onto.
Totally.
Yeah.
So he was grabbing onto the wall and the
Except for-
foothold.
And the foot,
Yeah, and
yeah, the foot. Mhm.
Except for the guy on
Ocean.
the right. That
You would
doesn't-
expect if
then
this was
he's-
true
See, if you look
zero
right here, you can
gravity,
see him
that
attaching his feet right
you have
there on the
to
bottom to
support
stop
yourself. You have
himself.
to stop yourself on both the top and the bottom of your body as you're drifting
No,
back.
you
If you just
don't.
stop yourself with your feet, then your head will rotate backwards. Conversely,
No,
if you
that's what you got muscles
just hang
for.
on at the top with your hands, then
He,
your feet will still keep moving. You have to
this guy doesn't get that it doesn't take much to stop your body in zero gravity. Doesn't take much to start your body in zero gravity.
if there's no motion in the ocean, then you're gonna stay still. So what they do is they let them sit there until they're not moving.
Right.
Hi,
and
Tsunami. How
then-
you doing?
Hey, Tsunami.
Mommy.
And then you're barely moving, and most of the times that they're moving is to try to keep themselves straight forward.
Well, and that's it too, Slim.
So-
They've learned to control their bodies in the microgravity as well, on what it takes to
they-
stop and without inertia
It's not
taking
the
over.
first-
It's almost
not the
like they
first
go through
day.
hours of training even
Yeah.
before they go up there.
Yeah,
Exactly.
exactly.
Yeah, totally. So keep blowing
support
on
yourself
with
with
this.
both the top and the bottom of your body. But his hands, Chris Hadfield's hands, aren't touching anything. He just goes back
They
and then
don't
he
need
stops.
to. He has a
That's odd.
foothold.
You can see a sort
It's
of a
not
harness
odd.
sticking through
But why
the
was the
t-shirt.
paper floating just a millisecond ago?
Right,
And why was
right,
the other
right.
thing, like you're not paying attention to the rest of the bullshit. You're just fucking paying attention to these micro things. It's just like black swanning it. You're just black swanning it. You're just
They're seeing what
running
they
the
want
one-
to see. They're not seeing
Or the one
what's actually
anomaly.
happening.
They're
Mhm.
what they think is one anomaly happening out of the
Yep,
rest
yep.
of
Of Chris
everything that
Hadfield.
shows
It's
you.
the
There's-
harness that's around the waist. That's how they're
That's not
supported.
the kind of harness he was
Also
wearing.
noticed-
You dumb. Oh my god.
That doesn't look like it. This looks like they got the spare tires, but no harness.
But Chris
And you know
Hadfield
how
has
hard it
the
would
habit.
be to have harnesses for all of those three people that close together? That's
Yes, they could
a
not do that.
thing. No, yeah.
Well,
if
Well,
you
Being
it's
ever-
his
possible, but it's
Knees
hard.
up. That's because
Yeah,
his stomach
and
muscles
it
aren't
was
as strong.
so
He
hard
doesn't
to
have.
hide it. Go ahead.
It is possible, but if you look at what's above them, you're gonna see. There's just too much that they would have. There's no way they could edit
Oh,
out
yeah.
every single thing.
But
Look how much
everything else is floating.
details in the background.
Everything
Right.
else is floating. Which
Right.
does,
They got
wow.
an orange.
As much mid-ridge
Mhm.
strength as some of the others. Who
Yeah,
are
how
able
does
to
the
elongate their body
microphone float like
and
that?
make the
Why
hoax
did
look
it
a bit
fall?
more realistic.
There's
He's
so many
constantly
things.
bringing his knees up because he's not as strong as the others.
No, he's bringing his knees
Occasionally,
up
though,
because
the
it's more
others bring their knees
comfortable
up
for
too.
him.
Okay,
he-
so
no, but if he's
strength,
not as-
right?
If he's not that strong, then
Go ahead.
Let's say you have a harness around your waist, or wouldn't it take more effort to lift your legs like that
That's
than to
what-
just
yeah.
let them dangle?
Yeah.
And maybe the director or somebody said, "Will you all kind of show more movement in this to just give everybody a better understanding of kind of, you know what I'm saying? Like maybe there was some directional aspects of somebody asking them to do these things behind the scenes just to show the movement. I don't know. Maybe
That's
Notice
also
that in
that's also an option.
the extended scenes, which seems to be done in front of a blue screen, like if you
But
have a
you
look
just
at
showed
this
us
guy,
fucking like minutes and minutes and minutes straight without a fucking cut, and you fast forward it. And well, the reason why you fast forward is because you wanted to not give us the understanding of the time frame. But if you showed us
Right.
that much time being fast forwarded, how can you do that in any other circumstance? There's no other circumstance you could have that happen.
Mhm.
And even in a parabolic flight, and even
Hey, Jinx.
inside your mom's vagina. I mean, so many
Hello,
other things
Jinx.
that doesn't. Hey, Jinx.
Hi, Jinx.
Even in the fucking water, and once again, the whole water thing that they're like practicing.
That's a whole
how are
issue
they
unto
talking?
itself.
Well, how
Yeah.
are they talking, and
Yeah.
how are they? It doesn't. None of it makes any sense, you weirdos.
You're weirdo.
They're wizards,
Going
Harry.
back towards the
Yes.
screen, there's some strange shadows there. Look like they're
I
CGI'd
knew it.
in.
They're
Yeah,
witches.
he keeps
Using computer graphics,
skipping.
they
If you notice, they keep
edit out
skipping
the
around.
supporting
Yeah.
wires and edit.
Why would all
So
these weird?
strange shadows and CGI.
Somehow.
If they were
Yeah.
doing it live, why would you have the strange shadows? That would just take more effort.
Yeah. True.
Okay, so if you look to the left bottom,
Mm-hmm.
white wire or white
Yeah.
cord. Let's put it that way. If that was being held up by wiring or something to make it stay there, it would not jiggle around as much as it does throughout this whole
No.
fucking video. It would stay exactly where it's supposed to because nobody touches it, nobody gets near it,
Yep.
but it jiggles around like way more, which makes you feel like you're inside of an aquarium or they're inside water, which would
Mhm.
be what they are, which is in near zero gravity.
in
So once again,
these
watch
rotating
how much
floating objects. They always seem very concerned with the object. Chris Hadfield looks at it very closely. You don't want
Yeah.
the object
How is that
getting too
object
far out of control.
floating?
I have
CGI.
held a I have held a microphone a gazillion and a half times. I've never been able to just like spin it off to my fucking homie to just so he can just
Right.
catch it and just
Right.
start busting out rhymes.
But you don't have drinks.
Oh yeah. That's totally.
Yeah.
And Slim,
That's
I
fine.
think I told you about the space evidence that I came across the other day. Like, it's
Yeah.
actually quite funny that none of us came across that before. But I came across a YouTube video because I kind of like radios and antenna and shit. And like,
Mhm.
I came across a dude that was picking up the signal from a Russian weather satellite and downloaded
Oh,
the image.
nice.
How can an
Wow.
amateur do that
Did-
with a homemade antenna? With a homemade
Exactly.
Can you
antenna
pull
and a
it up?
credit card size
Can you share it?
computer. I do think I got it somewhere.
See, and the one
We'll do
thing-
that after this video.
That's
The one
it,
thing this
bouncing
guy's
off,
not commenting
tapping
on
in a
is
weird way
their
or goes
shirts
back to
are
the blue
really
screen.
loose and
It could ruin
floating up
the
off their
whole-
bodies.
Yeah, wait. Hold on.
Same with their pants. Hmm.
Hold on. Homie just did a couple of the middle gentleman just did like multiple fucking spins. Look at how fast. Can you go back, please?
And knees up too. Notice that in the
go
extended
like
scenes,
30 more
which seems
seconds
to be done in front
forward.
of a blue screen, like if you have a look at this guy going back towards the screen,
Here we
there's some
go.
strange
Mhm.
shadows
Watch what he
there,
does. Watch what he does
like
with the
they're
video.
CGI'd in. Using computer graphics, they edit out the supporting wires and edit in
He sped it up.
these
He sped it
rotating
up. He
floating
sped it up.
objects.
Yep.
They always
sped
seem
it up,
very concerned
obviously.
with the object. Chris Hadfield looks at it very closely. You don't want the object getting too far out of control, because if it starts bouncing off the cabin in a weird way or goes back to the blue screen,
But
That
see, he
doesn't make any
doesn't.
sense.
ruin
And then
the
watch.
whole-
doesn't-
there he
Look,
goes.
Look.
Yep. See.
He
Hmm.
he is
He
so
did a flip.
manipulating. He's so manipulating this footage so much that it makes
they
it
also
seem.
don't bounce those
So he won't.
oranges
He's not even
off
showing the
walls.
flip.
I'd like to see them get a tennis ball and throw it around really hard and fast. And
Yeah,
I'd like
right
to see
there.
Oh fuck!
Mhm.
there goes
And
another
then it
flip.
damaged stuff.
How
Then
did
it
they
You
damages
do
can't
all
do
And
that?
now
that
this
on a
guy's
harness.
upside down.
You
How did they
cannot do that
all
on a
that
harness.
shit? How did they do
You
all of
cannot.
that stuff
and do-si-do.
in this closed space?
There he went
with
a flip
all of the-
again.
Yep.
Yeah.
each other
And-
really quickly, which they can't do, or they'd get all their wires tangled up. The extended
On a
mode
harness, you would
Hey,
not be
you
able to
could
go
not
upside
do
down
that?
like that.
Did he literally
even-
just say you?
Yes, he did.
Yeah, they can't do it again because otherwise they get tangled.
Yeah, except for they could do that for hours and hours, and
Yes.
everything else.
quieter
That,
than
no,
Right
just-
here.
sorry.
Where's the harness going through on that doorway if she's on a
It
harness?
can't go through doorways. Harnesses don't work that way. I
There's no
worked
like
in-
slots, right?
He's claiming that this is like background jet in that they're inside the
The noise?
vomit
No, that's
comet.
the air filtration system.
It's loud as fuck, and
Yes.
that astronaut. This is probably from the early 2000s because
Yeah,
I've seen her
yeah.
so many times, and they
Yep.
didn't have AI noise
in
cancellation.
the full motion
And
mode. In full motion mode, you can actually hear the sound of the jet engines.
No,
the
that's
engines of
called
the
the
airplane.
air filtration system.
Wait.
Look at that
Has he ever
paper on
been?
the left.
Has
Every
he
single
ever
up.
been? No, but also, has he ever been
Mm-hmm.
on an airplane? I don't think so, because an airplane
No, it
doesn't
doesn't
have
sound
one
like
on the
that.
inside.
No, it
It
doesn't.
doesn't sound like that's not that loud.
full scene of full motion mode in every segment of the International Space Station. You can hear this loud sound, the sound of the jet engines. You could argue that it's the air conditioning system. Not even an office air conditioner is that loud. And why?
Yeah, she is. She's actually. I've seen a couple of videos with her in it. She's actually quite fun to watch when she does one of those videos.
Is there a loud sound in every segment?
If this
Oh,
was
and the
fake, why
hair.
would they keep the
Please.
noise?
Yeah, the
there?
hair. The hair is awesome.
Yeah, but why would they keep the noise in there if it was fucking fake? They would have
Right.
just turned the noise
No,
down.
that is
and-
actually the air filtration system sucking
Yeah.
the air, like recycling
Yeah,
it. That's what
and
basically
that
all that is.
That proves that this is for real, not fake.
Mhm.
Because what happens in Aliens,
If
the movies, they're not gonna play all the weird background noise. They're gonna
No, they're
tone
not.
it out and
if they
Yeah,
were
you-
faking it, they would have it for human consumption. That means no
Correct.
loud noise.
With the International Space Station. That's
You were saying, Slim?
yeah, exactly. Go.
because no matter how soundproof you make it, you can't filter out all of the sound of the jet engines. An airplane is just
Okay,
too
so
noisy.
how is she moving
Noise cancelling headphones on
much?
when you're on a plane, and that doesn't stop the sound from getting through. It muffles it.
Wait. Has he ever seen any of the videos about the vomit comet?
Probably
On, the
not.
on those videos, you do not hear the airplane.
No, you don't.
They also use microphones that don't pick up very far away. If you have a look at this scene here, you can see that when the microphone's in the middle, pointing towards the guy in the middle, you can't hear the sound of jet engines as much, but when the microphone goes to the guy on the side, you can hear the sound of jet engines
Could it be because
Yeah,
he's
bit
near
more,
where
so
the
you can't
vent is that the
truly
air is being
soundproof
pulled through?
inside
Shock.
of
I know.
the airplane where they fake full motion mode.
That's a cupola. I think
That's
that's,
the
what they
cupola.
call
that's
it.
the
That's the
cupola.
cupola. Hmm.
The most awesome spot on the ISS.
That is.
You can see in this scene from the recent National Geographic documentary Live from Space, Koichi Wakata is looking at
Hey,
the
Mr.
window
B,
there.
what's up?
Hi, Mr. B. How you doing?
Hello, Mr. B.
Full motion mode, and you can tell because of the sound of jet engines. In quiet mode, they can go to the cupola and they can look through at their model, and you can see an amazing model. Gee, why would you build the International Space Station out of a bunch of long, thin segments that can easily break at the joints?
That's not how that works.
Because it's modular.
No.
They need to fucking transport it up.
And they don't easily break at the joints. Oh my god.
And well, it would. That, like, if it was in air, it would break. But It's not
air
in
on
air.
Earth, probably. Yeah, but it's not.
Yeah,
It's in space where there's very little air. There's like little to
there's
no
hardly any
pressure.
And
any
it's not
forces
being
on it.
loaded, so
Yeah, there's hardly
No.
any pressure on it from any
Mm-hmm.
direction.
So there's their fairly realistic view of the rest of the International Space Station.
Hello, Rick.
Oh my God, fairly realistic view. Jesus.
Hello, Dermot. Welcome to the International Space Station.
Oh, it's nice to have you with us, Rick. Thank you so
Everything
much.
just
When,
proves that he.
Yeah,
when
see
is
how he
this,
keeps moving?
astronaut
So every
program?
time he touches something, it pushes him the opposite direction. That's
Yeah,
what
like
you
I
would
said.
see in microgravity.
Yeah, all of the
You
video
mean
that he's
for
shown
every
us,
action?
literally.
There's an equal and
every
opposite
action, there's an
reaction.
equal.
Mhm.
Yep.
Yep.
I'm
It
sorry,
would happen
Slim,
on a
for
zero
running
G
over
plane.
you.
Yes, I do agree. But like we said, there's a certain finite amount of time they have in zero G on those planes.
Yeah.
Well, actually, getting selected as an astronaut's not as easy as it sounds. I started applying many years ago, and it actually took me 9 years and 9 different applications before I was finally selected in 3 different interviews. Oh, absolutely. It went well beyond any expectations I had.
And Koichi, you're the commander of the ISS. Congratulations, the first Japanese commander. What does being commander actually mean?
How did that just happen? Tell me, how did that floating of the microphone across both of them
Right,
happen
exactly.
now?
He doesn't. If you notice, he's not even addressing that.
Yeah.
All he's saying is they're bouncing around, which is what you would expect if they're not fully stabilized.
Well, it's quite an honor and a big challenge for me, but I am humbled
And you
to take
see that movement he's doing sideways like that? He
to
could
be able
not
to
do that
work
with a harness
my
on.
very
It'd be
hardworking
impossible.
Rick
Yeah,
and
totally.
Misha. And
And we've already gone past the 30 or 40 seconds.
Mm-hmm. Yes, we have.
Oh,
since I
Florida.
have a really talented and motivated crew, I got the
If he's
easy
on a
part.
harness, how can he creep into that corner?
Did you
Exactly.
see how fast he cut that shit? That was way
If anyone
more
can
than
play,
that.
oh, see, now he's bringing up the sound levels again.
Eating fine and sleeping fine and just having fun up here.
Yeah,
And I
that's
need to
also
make
the
sure
noise
that we have
canceling.
good communication with the flight control team. It's a wonderful team all over the world.
Yeah, no, it doesn't. That's not how that.
No, dude. No.
Again, we've already talked about the seconds that it takes for it to reach there.
This has nothing to because their bodies react the same way means nothing, dude.
Look at the size of the
means-
fuselage.
Look how
That's
big. Yeah,
about-
look how much. That's the room you have, right? Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's the room you have, and
But
that's only part of the
NASA
plane.
NASA has bigger planes for that.
So
like,
really
But
quickly,
even NASA
Have
has
you spotted the planes that they use for that?
no. Even NASA has big planes. However, they also have areas where people have to sit as they're going up. So they only have a finite amount of space in the fuselage of that plane to do what they need to do for training and what have you.
That's
Same
why
with these.
they got planes that are like 10 times bigger than this one. Have you never seen them fly overhead? Like when they
I know
record?
they got big planes, but that's like a 737 or a 747.
so the other thing that we-
nobody is realizing that I'm being the flirt here.
Yes, you're being the flurf.
Anyways, so the other thing that you notice is there's not the sharp corners on the laptops and the other equipment that are around.
Right,
While these people are
right.
doing these maneuvers, they're holding on to these like cables and they're doing other things. That's not the same thing as what they're doing right there, you weirdos.
Really a lot of fun to work with Rick and Misha.
And what's the reaction been like in Japan?
Actually, they really liked watching the change of command ceremony last Sunday, and I had a lot of feedback. And like to many international partners of the International Space Station program, to Japan it means a lot to have its own representative to have a chance to command the International Space Station.
Look at how he cut that.
See,
after that
this
dude.
means
Oh,
nothing.
and look,
This
look
means
at
nothing.
that. Look at
Yeah.
the way they're just flying around like it's not perfect zero G. Like
Yeah.
there's air turbulence and stuff.
The other thing that these people aren't addressing is there's people like Astronomy Life who have actually gotten images of the ISS with various things attached to them
Look,
over the decades,
the stabilization bars, blue stabilization
and
bars.
detail of the ISS up in low Earth orbit.
Jesus Christ.
To balance the rotation.
Jesus Christ.
As he moves away from there,
Oh,
he
I
moves
love those little droid things
once
they
again,
got.
Look at those.
hangs
They-
onto
Yeah.
the bar on the
How is
side.
it staying there
Left hand
floating and spinning?
stabilize himself.
Hey, MJ.
Well, they use little fans and they
Oh, okay.
just go around and get stuff and do stuff.
But still, there's all these things they're holding on to and other things. And I know they're not inexperienced people that are doing this, but like the way that the movements are
From the
totally
International
different.
Space Station.
Completely.
Hello, Katie.
And this.
Hello.
She moved. That's why. See how the
Yeah, she was waiting for the connection to
Space Station. Leo.
see that's what I'm talking about. She looks like see, there's no way that harness will hold her up like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, but like she was holding herself down,
Yes.
and that was probably more comfortable. But like
Mm-hmm.
this seems like she's on a call with a school or something.
Yeah, I think they're all probably with
And
the
like,
school.
of course, as soon as that connection is there, you want to show everybody the weightlessness. Like,
Of course.
yeah.
So once
And
again,
I mean,
if you
look
were-
at her hair.
Look at her
Yeah.
hair. But they will
Hey,
tell you,
hey,
oh,
MJ.
that's hairspray or a perm. That's not how perms or hairspray even work.
No,
Hear
because
me? You know,
it moves.
Yes, I can hear you.
Yes, I can hear you. Oh, good.
Thing we do, we're weightless, and all the things we're doing it with are weightless as well. So you start off with that teeth brushing thing, and I have to say, you know, spitting, that's going to be a problem. So we swallow our toothpaste, and the day goes weightless from there.
Fuselage is not angle tilting. What? He thinks it's on a gimbal?
What?
He thinks the fuselage is on a gimbal.
Oh, Jesus.
So that it's tilting her.
What is your average work day? Is it like a
It is
real 8-hour
tilting.
day?
So
or
she's not actually
what
doing
do you
that.
guys
It's the
do? You sit
fuselage
around
doing that.
looking out the windows? Or what do you guys do? This is what I want to know. Scare you?
Once again, if she was in a parabolic
say
thing and she
scare me, but
fell,
I'll
she
say
would
that I
hurt
take them,
herself
very,
by falling
very,
in all of those sharp objects.
seriously.
What
She's
is he
already
pointing at?
done more than
Mhm.
30
She's-
or 40 seconds.
Yes,
Totally.
she has.
And then everything else around that has been floating as well in a way that is
Mhm.
more fluid than we've seen with these parabolic flights.
In that we exercise, you know, about almost 2 hours a day, which I'll say I'm
Hello, hey MJ, how you doing?
Hey, MJ.
not disciplined enough
Thank
to
you for
do
that.
down on the earth. But I do it up here because
Oh,
the
see, look, she
implications
just
of
kicked
not
the thing
exercising
behind
are
her,
really
and it
hanging true.
moved.
It's almost like you can't really fake that easy.
Mhm.
Tremendous amount of bone loss, and I have a 10-year-old, and I figure I still have a lot of running around to do when I get home.
Katie, I wanted to ask you, other than your family,
Mr. B.
what do you, as a woman,
guys
what do you miss
what she
the
just
most?
said? What fucking big
Seat
sacrifice
belts?
she is making? What
Look
fucking
at her dog
she's making.
tags. They're just floating
Yeah.
like that.
Yep.
Yeah,
Yep.
but like she is missing months of being with her 10-year-old son.
Yep.
Or, I believe
See,
it's
that's what I'm
son.
talking about. See how all of a sudden the gravity is gone and it just 0G?
Yeah, it's
He
not
even debunks
smooth.
himself right here.
And how to
But see, he
eat these
doesn't go
things
until when gravity
Yes.
takes hold.
is
Did you
truly
notice that?
challenging, because as soon as I open
Yeah,
this
totally.
tag,
He cut that. Yeah.
all of these are going to want to come out. And so I'm going to have just a couple come out.
Mars Needs Moms was a cute movie, MJ.
Yes, it was.
Japan. And that brings us to Koichi, who's in the Japanese lab Kibo. So Koichi, walk me through what you're working on in this lab.
Yeah, this is an experiment called Spheres. And these satellite robots are specifically designed to function in the microgravity. They contain the software that the scientists are testing.
At first, this looks like a full motion scene to me, but on closer inspection, I think this is a suspended mode scene. When when it's sped up, you can kind of see them swinging, and it has the same backdrop as the other suspended mode scenes. And then there's
because they're in the same freaking ISS, you numbnut.
Yeah, but look at everything
And it
else
ain't
besides
exactly
the robots.
spinning, because if it was on a string, then it wouldn't be turning with the circle like that.
Rick
Yeah,
Mastracchio
it's not staying on the same
puts out his
axis.
hand and he moves forward. Maybe he's using his feet to wedge himself forward somehow, but it doesn't look like
He moved his feet at the bottom and he moved forward.
Yeah, he
Oh,
See,
and
his
those
feet
are
are
those
behind.
bars that you
Yes.
pointed out earlier.
His feet are behind the bar, and now watch, he's going to come out to in front of that bar.
Yeah, the feet and bars.
And then he moves his feet, and it doesn't take much to move in microgravity once you start moving.
His feet under it, keeps shuffling back and forth on. He sticks his left hand out, and then he just moves forward. He is Superman. That's how Superman moves forward. He sticks out his arm, and he flies.
Dude, you're a loser. Whoever the fuck you are, you're a fucking loser.
No,
Whoever
this
made
is
this
Terra.
video,
This
you're
is.
a fucking loser.
I don't know if it's Terra Times or Terra Times is using this video.
Another
I'm not
aspect
sure.
of the illusion of space travel is space walks. These are faked inside a swimming pool, custom
No,
built
they're
sort of
not.
level,
No,
and
they're
that's a
not.
great way to fake zero gravity. About 6 months ago, in 2013, a gallon of water leaked into one of their spacesuits in a matter of seconds.
No, it was not.
NASA doesn't
Oh my
really have
God. No.
Hey, Michael.
No.
No. I think he's
Hi,
talking about that
Michael.
guy, that one that had the coolant leak in his suit or something.
Yeah.
And because it's microgravity, it's going to stick to the face.
It's going to
And
stick
yes-
to anything because of surface tension, and he
Correct.
almost
Sure.
drowned.
Totally. Yeah.
And he almost drowned
Explanation
because
for
it
how on
stuck
earth
to his
this
face.
could have
Yeah.
happened.
Yeah.
There shouldn't be water leaking into someone's helmet and a person almost drowning in space.
Yeah, they totally misunderstand. Totally misunderstand.
They have an undersuit that's filled with little
Mhm.
tubes which bring
Yes.
cold water so that they can take heat away from the astronaut.
How can you
Mhm.
drown in space? They now wear snorkels to make sure that they don't drown in space. How can this be happening? A snorkel in space? There could be some water in the porous plate sublimator. When they were on the moon, they supposedly had about a gallon of water, but that cooling system is supposed to be well away from their head. There really is no sane explanation for why a gallon
You
of
just don't
water would leak
understand it,
into
you dumb
someone's
cunt.
spacesuit, unless you realize the whole thing is faked inside a swimming pool. In this scene, you can see the Chinese
Why
space
would
walk.
that happen in a
You can
swimming
see a
pool and
bubble
not
coming
in...
up from the guy's suit. How do you have a bubble in space? Space is supposed to be a vacuum.
Debris. Just
so
debris.
many things? Yeah.
Not a swimming pool, but it's obviously just a swimming pool filled with water. Obviously, there would be some equipment that they could
You
only
would have
fix
so
on the
much
outside,
more
but a lot
bubbles.
of these spacewalks, it seems like equipment they easily could have configured to be accessible from the inside of the International Space Station. It seems more like an excuse to get out and show their other space trick, which is the faking of spacewalks in a swimming pool. In this vid, you catch a glimpse of some.
The thing, though, is you can't fake the lighting in a swimming pool like that.
And what was the other part of the human beings that were inside of the thingy-mabobber that were weightless for longer than 20 seconds?
Yeah.
They always are like, oh, they did it in the swimming pool. Yeah, well, but what the rest of the shit's when the fucking people are like talking and throwing microphones back and forth. Like,
They don't mention that, but let's see what they say here because I think I know what they're talking to go.
Yeah, yeah.
Thinking
One
of
wearing
on
a
this.
scuba tank. Scuba tanks in space? Snorkels and scuba tanks in space?
Yeah, they need fucking
They act like
air.
the spacewalk is
No,
just a
but they
walk in
need
the
air.
park. Like there's very little danger involved at all. They're looking through the spacesuits. Oh, here's a spacesuit. We're going to go for a spacewalk, as if there's no danger at all. Like they don't care. They don't care.
Oh
Because
They-
they've been
no! They
trained
point
don't-
out the
for it.
danger
The thing with that
constantly.
previous one though is he looked like he with the thing, it looked like there were bubbles coming up, which that could have been training in a deep pool.
Yeah.
But if you notice, he didn't come show it. He stopped it and looped it back to where you
Yeah,
couldn't
no,
see
no.
exactly what was
Yeah.
inside the hatch.
Yeah, no, totally. No, yeah. But anyways, once you're already like, I'm sure you're gonna be scared as fuck before you get up there. But once you get there, and they don't like show any of these videos until a couple of days after you've already been up there. So after you've been up there for a hot second and you've already done a couple things, then they record you or they do what they're doing here. So at that point in time, you're comfortable enough
but-
in the space
Yeah,
to
no,
be
but, like-
okay with what you're doing.
Don't act like
they
they're in
have
a
sat
life.
on top of a giant bomb when
But
they
the
got
thing
shot
is-
into
is-
space.
The thing
Threatening
is, this guy's
situation, like they-
claiming that they're perfectly fine with doing a spacewalk and they're not scared at all. I bet you they're shitting bricks the whole time they're
No, of
doing
course
it.
Yeah,
Oh,
of course.
yeah.
they
Yeah,
are.
if
You
if they get untethered, they're pretty much
Mhm.
gonna die in a horrible
Could
way.
die at any second, even though they can. So you would think to preserve their life, they would want to minimize the amount of spacewalking that they did.
That's what they do.
They only do
That's what they
spacewalks when
do.
necessary. He acts like, well, I'm going
There
out for an
seems to
afternoon
be an
stroll.
abundance of
That's not
equipment
how that works.
on the outside of the International Space Station that constantly requires repairing, which makes for a good
Yeah.
TV spectacle and is inspired by
'Cause
movies
things
like
break down and
Central
everything they have is on
Gravity.
the outside.
And
They have to go
fix it, you
outside to
dumb
fix
cunt.
it.
Exactly, you cunt.
And after Gravity came out, they of course had to do another spacewalk to fix some
No.
emergency,
Oh my
some
God.
piece of
See,
equipment that their lives
yeah.
depend on. That amazingly they can fix
Dumbass.
every time. But
How
you know,
often do you have to get your car fixed? How often do you have
Right.
to go get yourself fixed?
But also,
And
Often
isn't
sometimes-
Or go to the
that a
doctor.
lot? And isn't the International Space Station a lot more complex than your car?
Yes.
It's
Nah.
not good to me.
my
Well,
bicycle's
thanks
more
to the-
complex.
That's why it's so messy
Genius.
on the inside. They just fix it and let things hang out because they can't have it be perfectly where you can't see anything. It would just take too much time to do that.
the
Yeah,
engineers at
and-
NASA, they employ
It's
snorkels
not
in
a
space now.
snorkel. It's not
So
the
that should
snorkel
stop
you
them
think,
from
you dumb cunt.
drowning.
It is
No,
a
it's not the
way so
snorkel
they-
like.
No,
Mhm.
it's just a little fucking tube to make sure that
Yes.
there's outgassing or there's something that
Yep.
makes it so that
They hear
Safety
snorkel and they think like
device.
in the water snorkel, like down here,
Yeah,
right?
it's not.
That's
That's
not
not
how
that.
that-
Yeah.
The snorkel, as I mentioned, this is actually
Here it shows it. Yeah.
part that we can change out on the spacesuit. It's part of a waterline vent tube assembly, which is actually
Oh my
what
God,
runs
in your
through the
face.
backpack of the
God.
suit, and
Waterline
it's what hooks up
vents.
to the liquid cooling and ventilation garment that the crew members wear. So normally these tubes will be passing water that's providing cooling around the crew member's body. So some smart engineers on the ground were able to figure out, hey, it's a similar diameter to a snorkel that you have for scuba diving. So what if we're able to, each waterline vent
This
tube
is like
assembly
just
has
his
two of these
commentary on
tubes.
this is just
So by
complete
just
denial.
sacrificing one of our
that that's
spares on
happening.
board, they were
Yeah.
Well, this seems actually sensible what it is.
But yeah,
Oh my
exactly.
God,
But
this
if you
is
look at the
gonna save
text
people's
underneath,
lives.
the denial is just
Yeah, but
denial
it's,
is in your face.
Yeah, no, it's just an extra ventilation system in a way, shape,
That's
or
all
form
it
that it's
is.
not gonna like
Yeah.
degas you or
were able to
gas
come up
you
with a way
or
to just snip off the ends and then file it so that it's not rough in the crew member's mouth, and then apply Velcro. We already have Velcro inside the suit, which is what holds the drink bag up to the front part of the suit. So they were able to come up with this ingenious idea to hold it in.
Well, I guess
Oh
the
my
unique
God.
experience is a really good way to describe
Wow, check out that
It's,
bad video that he's showing.
of course.
This looks like from
Always low quality. 1990s. It's got to
This
be.
looks like
At
Well,
least before
yeah, 2000,
2005.
somewhere in there. This
There's
looks a
one
while
aspect,
ago.
the part of being outside that is really similar to being in the NBL, the training facility, the neutral buoyancy lab, the big swimming pool we have at Johnson Space Center down in Houston. Everything
Similar
looks
too,
the
not the
same
same
in that
mass.
swimming pool, but outside, there's a big Earth going by. There's sunsets and sunrises to kind of wake you up.
Yep, that was before, I think, when was the last shuttle? Gotta be before Obama took office, or right after.
Yeah.
Was the last
Yeah, it was
shuttle.
after Obama took office.
Or brighten, kind of blind your eyesight, and so just the view is what's completely different.
I
That's
think it was
what's
like 2010, 2011 when the space shuttle program ended.
of doing your work, and amazingly
that.
enough, the Earth is just rotating by underneath you. And we talked about
15 years ago, that's about right.
A
Yeah.
misnomer. It's more like space floating. You're really not out there walking. And I guess the best analogy I can tell everybody is if you could imagine yourself scuba diving in a suit of armor, that's about what spacewalking is like.
Oh, interesting fun thing about the shuttle program that came through the grapevine. The machining professor that I had said that a lot of his students who worked in the aerospace industry told him that they fired all the NASA employees who put the insulation on the main tank, and they basically didn't properly train the people who did it before. That's just gossip, but it could be the reason.
The last
And the wide field planetary camera too.
July 8th, 2011, and that was the Atlantis. Orbiter Atlantis.
Clear of the structure of the telescope, and now Foista will be maneuvered by Meg.
It's a Chinese spacewalk. A bubble rises in the pool. It's complete fraud.
Excuse me, a bubble rises?
Yeah, the helmet.
Wait.
In space.
So that was again the exact same footage that he showed before when they were talking about the bubbles.
But there is a gazillion and a half examples of bubbles going in weird directions.
They would go in different
space.
directions in space. It wouldn't just go
paint
up.
flake. Paint flake. When they open the airlock,
Piece of ice.
have frozen ice. Yep.
It's hit on the International Space Station, and a bubble rises into the pool.
Fuck you, cunt.
Bubbles don't rise that fast,
This
you dummy.
spacewalk from NASA
See
isn't
how
even a
fast
bubble
that
yet.
flip went
And
by?
here's a bubble taking an odd trajectory because
Would
it's
not
in a
be a
water
bubble.
pool.
And you're
It even
using
curves.
very,
The
very
water
small
is
amounts. If there was like a shit
not
ton of bubbles that
motionless.
are all going in one direction, I could fucking
That's
be
not
like
a
on
bubble
board,
either.
maybe. But again,
Moving.
It literally. Keep going.
It could be a piece of space debris that
It
narrowly
could be
missed.
some space debris.
And
Yeah.
and
That's not a
did you
bubble.
flip it? Did you flip it?
See,
And
now he's showing
here
us
on the
again. See?
International Space Station,
Why is
it won't
it
even
going
go
down and not up? Why is it going down and not up?
high,
Down
but the
into
scuba
the
tank.
thing.
That's what you said.
He's only assuming it's a scuba tank, right?
Yeah.
He's assuming a lot. And
He is assuming way too much.
But also,
and wouldn't you have like gnarly caustics from lights above the water? If this
Yeah,
was,
you'd have like the water rippling. You would have
There would be
water
insane.
ripples showing on
and
the.
wouldn't there be
It's
more
just
bubbles?
to get away with this shit.
Yes, there would be a lot more bubbles. Those
yes.
are not bubbles.
Yeah, no, there
Those
would be
probably.
a shit ton.
I have a sneaky feeling
Lots
that was
of things could go
probably
wrong.
one of the astronauts going down into that
So-
area there, and he just caught the
Yeah.
part of him going down in there. And
They're
assumed it
on
was
the edge
bubbles.
of death.
He was like Freemasons in space.
I
Every
know. Oh
second.
my
Yet
god.
they act like giddy children with gay
Well,
abandon.
wouldn't you if you were up in?
Another
You would have
curious
been up in
thing.
space.
Like they
Yeah,
got
it's
one of the most
God.
interesting jobs in the world.
It's like
Sorry,
hitting the
I'm
lottery.
not-
It literally is like hitting the lottery because like there's a gazillion and a half people that fucking want to be in any space agency.
I mean,
And if
the
you get
majority of
to-
their time is spent on their work, but yeah, they have downtime where they can have fun and stuff and play around.
And the other thing is, they're asking these lovely folks to do things for you all
Yeah.
to prove things. So when you're shooting something or you're doing something, do you want to look like, I don't want to do this, or do you want to pretend this is the most fun thing in the world? Or
No,
like
but-
you're gonna pretend it's the most fun thing in the world. Like, why
And
not?
also,
It should be.
I don't know
is
about
take this
the guys
piece of
that
exercise equipment.
made
They've
this video.
deliberately detached it from the
But,
wall
like-
so that it's not directly attached to the side of the International Space Station. So that when they exercise, when they do their movements, the movements don't translate to the station and don't move the station around.
That's
a
not
wonderful
why they
concept.
do it.
That looks fun.
If you notice, for on the camera in our reference frame from the camera, he's upside down.
Yeah, but
I like that idea.
Why those devices are built like that, so they
Yeah.
don't, so the ISS doesn't move. Otherwise,
You wouldn't want.
Could move the whole station.
Well, could
But
set
they
up
don't
a
need it to be.
residence anyway.
The thing is, because it's floating around, it doesn't need to be attached to the side of the wall.
The
As long
station's
as
been
they've got
moving around a lot.
resistance, that's all they
Problem
need, right?
This piece of equipment is the only thing that they isolate from the International
loosely,
Space
right.
Station. Every other movement is translated to the station. They don't care.
See,
They
how
don't
did
bother
that?
to
See, he
isolate.
went.
Well, it
See what
is
I'm
like
saying?
a closed system, so every action is an equal and opposite reaction. I don't think you can actually move it very much, if at all,
No.
from within. Does anyone remember that episode of Stargate Atlantis where they were like in the shuttle and it was like halfway between, it was like inside the ring and they were like trying to
think
move it
so.
and they couldn't?
I think so. Yeah.
Kinda like that.
Sounds familiar. Yeah.
The station.
But if you notice, the
people-
guy when he grabbed the I guess I'm assuming that was Chris Hadfield. When he grabbed the guitar, he went up into an alcove. Shows you right there, they're not on a plane.
Yeah.
They
No,
would not
but
be able to
also
do that
like
on a plane.
the fact why they seem to have fun. Like, I don't know
Mhm.
about that guy, but like that's making this video. He probably has a fucking miserable job or is jobless. But like,
yeah,
if you got colleagues, like you try and make the
Mhm.
best of it. You're trying to have fun
They
with
had
each other. You know?
was it Mike Swanson, I think his name was, dressed up in a gorilla suit and was chasing people around at one time, that one video.
Yeah.
I mean,
Well-
they're allowed to have fun. It's not a big deal.
Remember, on the other side of that camera is some guy with a gun that's like, "Hey, you better
That's
make
right.
this palatable for
Yeah,
the."
we got to make sure the
normal
flat earthers have
people."
something to bitch about. So you better do your best to make it look fake.
Yeah,
Yes.
there we go. Yeah.
moving around inside. They grab these
gosh.
blue handles, which are all over the
Yeah.
station.
Why would they
They
have blue handles around the station if they were on harnesses?
Why would they make this look
It-
so ugly? Like,
Yeah.
like not to be a
It's-
dick, but like, go ahead, Commander.
Does everyone remember how beautiful the inside of the ship was in 2001: A Space Odyssey? Because
Yes.
it was a Hollywood set.
Yep.
It's
And see
so
that
beautiful inside,
that portal
and I wanted
behind
to
him,
rub it.
that hatch behind him is where they
Yeah.
enter in and out of when they have people come on and off the space station, off of the space station.
Why would they make this so clutter fucked if
Often have to
this was
sta-
fucking fake? There's no
Stabilize
reason to make
themselves
it.
on these blue handles. There seems to be so much motion in the International
Because he
Space
needs
Station.
to use it, you
Because
dumb
you're
cunts.
time lapsing it fast. That's why.
And they need to use it. They have to use it to stay in place because
Yes.
there's no they need to know they need to be in frame. Just like when
Mm-hmm.
you're shooting a movie and you're tick-a-my-talks and all
Take
the other
Chris
things.
Hadfield. He's moving through the station at breakneck
See
speed.
right here, watch.
and
He's
he
going to
stops
go up.
himself on the wall.
Breakneck speed.
That
Hell no.
No,
motion
he wasn't
is
breakneck speed. That was a
translated
time lapse.
to the station.
That's no, but also like
Station is
that,
very
you
big.
could walk that. Like if you that's how you walk down the hallway.
But if you notice, he wasn't going that fast either. It was sped up, so he looked like he was going that fast.
Yeah, he's been manipulating the time
Big.
the
It
whole
weighs many tons, but in space, there's really nothing to stop these motions from moving the position or the orientation of the space station.
The space
Was he saying
station
that people
has
moving around inside the
thrusters.
space station are going to move the space station around?
Every action, equal and opposite reaction. They shouldn't
Right.
move it, and even if it does, they have thrusters to correct.
Right.
And
They have to
who
correct every now and then.
Yeah, and who cares if it
International-
moves a couple of inches or something inside?
That's
it?
why
You
they
have
do
this
boost
band-
backs every now and then.
Yeah, well, you
Well,
have this
space station,
band that you need to stay in. It's not this tight knit thing. You need to be this millimeter. You need to be inside of. No, you have it has.
There's
probably
a what they call it, a
meters.
margin of error or something.
Yeah,
for
there's
lack of a better
multiple
term.
several
And
large
also those
or
boost backs
attitude
are
control.
the problem currently, because
yeah,
all those boosters are all on the Russian side.
to maintain
Yeah.
its proper orientation and so on. And there's a reaction control system consisting of rockets as backup, supposedly. We can only presume that the rocket-based reaction control system isn't employed very often, as they don't talk about it, given that there are so many people
But
inside.
They don't use it
ships
that often. Only when
moving.
they absolutely need to do they
Oh,
use
they
the
do it. They
thrusters.
do it regularly.
But he just referenced it. So if it's not mentioned often, how do you know about it, you dumb cunt?
Gear around all the time.
When
And every
was the, yeah,
time
research
these
when the
solar
last
panels
boost back
were-
was.
Say again?
Brandis is looking up when the last boost back was.
Yeah.
moved every time the Soyuz docked with it.
How often?
It
Get
has to be
boosted
every once in a blue
every
moon.
few months.
Yeah, okay. there we
Okay.
go.
So, not that
But
often.
a spaceship docking with it's not going to move it that much. They're designed to have
There would
some
be motions
limit
Yeah.
of motion
impinging
on
on the
that.
station, and
I
this would
think
move
people
the station.
farting
So what you'd
causes
need
it
is
to
a
drift
system
more.
of rockets on the outside burning fuel in order to stop the International Space Station from misaligning, from moving out of
probably
place.
monopropellant.
Dude, those
When
aren't
it
the
comes to
rockets.
satellite
What is
It's
he?
probably
What?
not even.
He's just
Just little
Photoshop shit
thrusters.
onto there.
He did. It's just little thrusters. That's all they need is little thrusters.
And isn't like
Doesn't
it
take
just
much
like
to
air?
move it.
Isn't like sometimes it's just like air pressure or like
I think it's just a change of air pressure, maybe.
or carbon or carbon dioxide or
Something.
some weird thingy.
Yeah.
They just like there's little spurters and they
It's
just
like
go
little
psst,
puffs.
Yeah,
Yeah,
they
like
go
little
psst,
puffs. Because that's
or
all they need,
whatever.
right?
Oh, hi,
Yeah,
Nippet.
yeah.
How you
Hey,
doing?
Hi, Nippet.
Hi.
Because that's, I mean, they're in such low pressure that they only need little
that
puffs
sucks.
of air to
Yeah.
move them.
Yeah. Hopefully your night gets better, Mippet.
Yeah, Mippet. Hopefully you get better, hon.
You're always welcome in if you want.
Yeah. So, anyways, let's blow on with this idiocracy.
Yeah, this guy's just
moving around a lot. The International Space Station changes in altitude somewhat, supposedly. It goes up and down. They supposedly bring up 3 tons of water every year. That's hard to believe, but let's take that at face value. But they never talk about huge amounts of rocket fuel. But even without
They
the
don't
rocket,
need rocket
all
fuel.
these motions of the astronauts and the solar panels moving around would put tremendous strains on the joints. And
No,
they're
they
not
wouldn't.
flexible.
That's actually why it has a life expectancy. That's why the Russians threw Mir into the sea. It does have a life expectancy.
I think they've talked
Yeah.
with the ISS about what 2030, 2031, 32, somewhere in there, decommissioning it and having it
Having
deorbit. As I
Well, I
recall.
mean, you got to, because if you
Mhm.
just leave it up there, some billionaire is going to make a hotel in it until
Yeah.
it basically breaks apart.
I mean, they
from
did the same
thermal
thing with
stresses.
Skylab. I remember when Skylab came down and hearing about that and where's it going to hit and all this stuff,
Yeah.
you know?
Totally.
a huge
You know?
airproof flexible joint of that size would be an incredible engineering feat. They don't have them anyway. There's not supposed to be any relative motion between sections. The International Space Station was made piecemeal. They started off
Yes,
with
it
one
was.
section, and then they added another section,
And they did it up in low Earth orbit, by the way.
Why if they were faking it, why would they do it in sections? Why would they not just fucking have said,
Mhm.
"Ta-da! We threw
Why
this
would
thing
they
into
just
fucking
say
space"?
why wouldn't they just say we have this giant pretend rocket that can take the entire fucking thing up there, and by the
Yeah.
way, it's not that skinny little thing that looks like a bunch of tin cans welded together. It's
Yeah, yeah.
Babylon 5 for fucking crying out loud.
Yes, yes, exactly. They would make it be this spectacular looking thing, wouldn't they?
And it,
If they
and
were
especially when
Yes.
lying about it.
especially when we were going through the
Uh-huh.
Soviet stuff and the after World War II, trying to be like the best country and the blah
Yep,
blah
I remember
blah.
that Muppet. Yeah.
We would have made it the most spectacular thing to shoot into the whatever, to do the
Right.
whatever for the what. And this doesn't make any sense.
It consists of a
Ugh.
bunch of tubular sections which are joined together.
Totally
It's
tubular.
It's an ad hoc
Totally
design.
tubular.
Here are
Oh, did you see that graphic, right? Let's go back to it.
Totally.
Fuck.
Right there. Mm-hmm.
It consists of a bunch of tubular sections which are joined.
Okay.
That one.
Wow, look at the fact that that's almost as big as the it's bigger than the airplane in terms of the web.
Yeah, and if you look,
Yeah.
there's sections coming off the sides of it, right?
And how is that even fucking structurally made to fly through anything, you weirdo?
That
in the
airplane is not.
Together. It's an ad hoc design. Here are a few
Yes, it is.
from
Ad
the
hoc
tour.
design.
It actually is. It's
You see her going in
modular.
and out, how fast she's going in and out?
Yeah.
How does that happen on a plane?
They
Like-
That can't happen
designed
on a
the
plane.
thing, and they designed the thing so that they could add to it beyond the
exactly.
original plan.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And
There's even a
it's
spot in
getting-
it where there's a gravity
And I
well.
noticed that
I've seen videos of it where they'll get there and they get in this one spot and they literally cannot move in either direction. It's like gravity neutral right there.
there's no airlock between sections.
Yeah.
This means if
there doesn't
there's
need
an
to
air
be.
leak in one section, they will be affected in all sections. They're quite
They can
likely
close them off.
all
There are ways
die.
to close things off. That's why there's portholes,
Where
you
the
dumb
space
cunt.
There's ways
work
to block it
2
off.
hours until you had to eat, and then
Excuse me.
take
But
the
also,
spacesuit off.
if they do get a hole in that, it's not going to be like an implosion like they
dead.
think it is.
The porous plates.
Yeah, there has been leaks and holes and other things in there, and they just have to keep pushing air into it and or
You're right.
closing those things off. There has been 13 different times there has been leaks inside of vessels that humans have been in, and they have survived it.
And most time it just takes
Hello,
as
Charles.
little as duct tape
Hey,
to
Charles.
fix it. Hey,
Yeah,
Charles.
What was he yapping
You know?
on about now? Like it was something about the air ducts, but I believe he's saying like
The portals and
yeah,
in
no, but like
between.
that.
He was saying the airlocks. There's not airlocks between the sections. He
No,
said.
Yeah, like there should be airlocks and doors
What
and
she's just showing an airlock where they can dock.
right.
Sublimator only lasts for a few hours anyway. Sometimes they're tethered. Do they have tether points on the inside of the International Space Station? Not
They
likely.
don't need them.
They don't really.
Did they have tether points on the
Tether
inside?
points?
On the
It's not
inside.
open.
Yes, they do.
Space, you-
In the
Well,
in
they
the,
have the
in
bars.
the airlock, there are tether points.
Okay.
And when they're sleeping.
There's I
Design it with life in mind. You could argue that they all scramble into the Soyuz and try and get back to Earth in the event of an air leak.
Oh,
No,
No.
that's
How
not
would
how
they
that
do that?
happens. Right. There we
How-
go.
wait,
There's
wait,
the
how-
perm. There's
wait,
the perm.
How would they do that on the ISS? How would they scramble back to Earth on a thing that does not get itself back into a place? What are you talking about, you dumb cunt? You just try to make sure that fucking situation fixes itself, or you get a hold of a country that wants to send things up as fast as possible so you don't
Right.
die. Unfortunately, you
No,
die
and-
in this case, you dumb.
No, you do not, because there is
No.
always like 6 spaceships docked at the ISS.
Mhm.
Are
Everybody
there?
has. Yes,
They
Oh,
there
okay,
is
okay,
they have
always
so-
there's always space and room enough for everybody to leave.
Okay. Sure.
That would be very
sure. So that
They
makes it
do
even
have the
worse.
supply capsules.
Okay, so that makes it even worse for his punk ass argument as well, because if something goes wrong, they just jump into the fucking spaceship to get back.
Yeah,
to
there's
home
ways they
or
can get
whatever.
out of there if
And
they need
I
to.
believe most of them are Soyuz.
Okay.
There's they usually have a couple of Soyuz attached.
Yeah,
Would have to completely
there's always room enough for everybody to come
change
down.
and recalibrate, recalculate.
Now that
the
previous
re-entry parameters
graphic,
if
notice
you
they
cram
point to the
all
woman's
11
hair
people
saying
or
it's a
however many-
perm.
Yeah.
Yep.
But if you look at the guy
I've
in
never
front of
seen
her,
a perm like that.
I've
but if you look
never
at the
seen
guy
any
in
good hair.
front of her, his hair is sticking up a bit too.
Yeah, and not just that, but there's so many other things in the background and around them that are fucking floating as well. Like, just because you
And the one thing I want to point out is in the beginning where he shows that one woman with the blonde hair sticking up, claiming she was upside down. I've seen that video where she's washing her hair.
Yeah.
There's no way a perm or hairspray would keep her hair straight like that and floating up after it's wet.
And
people I have
still
on there.
flexible.
And still
Have
flexible.
many people on
Exactly.
the station at the same time. You also couldn't cram that many people, all 10 or 11 of them, into the one Soyuz at the same time. They only ever have one emergency Soyuz escape capsule. You couldn't cram them all in. Very
The only
odd.
time
They're up
there's
there
ever that
bluffing.
many people on the ISS is when they're shifting people around. It's only for like a day or two.
Yeah.
Okay.
They're
okay.
shifting crews. Then you're back to the smaller crew again after that.
So once again,
Yeah,
they
but
have come up with this
again,
solution.
that is an extra craft that comes to the station.
That's what she said. Okay, anyways.
I think the most they've had on at one time was like
Situation where an air
13
leak could
people.
happen at
It
any
was only for
time
like a
and people
day or
die.
two while they were
And
shifting
there's not even an
crew around.
Wait, this
That makes sense.
this actually mentions. Wait.
It was just recently, as I recall, they had in the double digits of people.
boats for them to make it back to Earth. Having no airlock in between sections is very odd. The more
They can
sections
close
they add to
off
the International Space
sections.
Station, the more dangerous it becomes, and yet they don't care. Another curious aspect is how they deal with water. There's no proper shower, so they must be incredibly
Right here.
uncomfortable and stinky the whole time, yet they have huge smiles plastered on their face.
Fuck, you're
There's
in
ways they can
space, you're doing
shower.
one of the coolest things in the world.
Right.
And yet
Yeah.
they have the
And they have ways to
ability to-
clean themselves. They're not
Yeah.
like they don't go without.
What happens when somebody
Yeah.
shoves a camera in your fucking face? Do you fucking frown or do you smile? You dummy ass.
Like you're
Fucking of course I'm
oh
gonna-
my
Yeah.
god, I'm so miserable. I haven't had a shower in a week.
Yeah, even if you're not
It's not how
having
that
fun,
works.
what do?
And-
Yeah, you just smile
Yeah.
for the camera, right? And so fuck you, motherfucker.
I know.
Yeah,
Like I said, they
there's
want
like
absolute perfection.
yeah, there's at the moment there are two Dragon capsule cruise spacecraft
Okay.
on the ISS and a what's that? North of a space freight thing, a
Okay.
Soyuz cruise ship, and two other space resupply.
Oh, that-
things. So there's
so-
three things that they can get out of the.
Right. Should they need to.
Yeah, I'm not sure if those other things hold people, but like there's at least a Soyuz cruise ship and two Dragon module crew spacecraft there. So
They can't have a proper
that is
shower.
quite-
Nevertheless, they must use some water in order to
What?
clean themselves, in order to clean
They
their
do.
hair. What do they do with this water? Supposedly they have suction
Well-
for when they urinate.
The
Yeah,
woman they
they
showed with the
actually
blonde.
recycle it.
The woman they showed doing her hair with the blonde, she had the straw right up to her scalp, so the water would stick to her scalp, so she could scrub her hair. And then she was mindful to get her towel and clean her hair and clean her scalp off immediately.
Yeah.
Aside from that, there are no special vacuum sinks. In other words, there's water floating around all over the International Space Station.
And they have
Now,
things to
none
take
of
care of that
these
water and
surfaces
suck it in and
are
recycle it.
waterproof. It's just expected that you keep the water confined to one area of the International Space Station, away from the delicate electronic equipment and so on.
They're
Oh
just
my
doing it.
goodness, he's going into an area that probably
that's their
is
bathroom
sucking
area. Mm-hmm.
is sucking all the water in through something that can process it and handle it.
Yeah,
Right.
like and an area that does not have sensitive electronic
Exactly.
components.
And they will
What
say,
do you
like, if
do
there's
with
little
this
drips
water,
that get off like
especially
that,
dirty water? Because
she's
that's
mindful
what
to
water
catch it, but
does.
what
It
you don't
absorbs
catch goes
dirt and
into
particles.
whatever the collectors are, and they just use it to recycle with the water.
Yeah, they
So it
probably, that
accumulates
area
so
probably
much
has
filthy
slightly
water.
different.
Is this what he thinks it looks like? Jesus Christ.
The mantra, of course, is recycling. They're supposed to recycle
They
everything.
do
Wow, they have
recycle,
some
dummy.
amazing recycling
They-
technologies on the International Space Station that they can't demonstrate anywhere else.
Okay, so they take this, they filter out the water from the poo, and it goes back to be used. They
poo
filter
and the
out the
pee.
water from the pee, and then they take the shit and the solid piss back with them. So they don't just
they
don't
bag it up.
jettison it out.
They bag it up. They keep it in an area where they can throw it in it when the next supply ship comes in. They can. Yep.
Because Neil Armstrong, he slung a turd a good long ways, and like 40 years later, it took out a Chinese satellite.
I mean,
But
it's a
that was on
super
purpose.
water recycler
It was an awesome sling, though, wasn't it?
that's compact enough to fit inside the International Space Station. Imagine how much maintenance such a system would require.
Yes, the
You'd have to
fucking
replace
shitload.
so many filters and chemicals.
Literally.
Things would be breaking down, and you'd have to repair it, but you don't.
That's why it's so So there's so many wires exposed in the ISS because they're constantly fixing stuff.
The tools to do it. So there's another curious, strange aspect of the International Space Station,
Just
which
your
endangers their
misunderstanding,
lives
dude.
and could kill them, but they don't care.
No,
They
just
always have huge
misunderstanding.
smiles.
They do care. They do care. That's why they send up fucking professionals.
He's like, they always have huge smiles, so they're supposed to be like bitchy all the time. Is that what he's saying?
like-
Should be bitchy and irritable and-
I'm
Yeah,
gonna
yeah.
die. I'm gonna die. I'm
I
not
might
gonna
die in the
enjoy
next 5
zero
minutes.
gravity.
Just for
On their
reference,
face.
like last week, like and Monday again, like I'm working on a farm where it is stinky, dusty, and shit. But the guy I'm working with, we're having fun together.
Yeah, exactly.
We're joking around.
Exactly.
Like, and like, look what kind of view he
Yeah,
has.
but
in
the guy
cupola.
is very deluded on here.
Like
he's saying what he
he
wants
can
to
see
see.
the whole fucking almost the whole fucking world. Like, what the fuck? Why the fuck would you smile?
You would. It's like the dream that every kid has had the dream. I want to be an astronaut, and these people actually did it.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
But they're having
Why
a
would
really
you not
good
be
time,
happy?
Jealousy.
even
It's
though
just
they
jealousy.
could die at any second. Another curious
Honey, you
aspect.
can walk out your front door and get hit by a bus. Okay, just saying.
Yeah.
Humans emit dust with time. Their skin dies and drops off. That's what
Yes,
makes
that
the
is
most
filtered.
dust inside a person's house.
That's
There'd
a
be
duck.
so much dust building up on the International Space Station, and yet you never see them go.
You never see them do
Yes,
it.
they do.
Why would? But the thing is, why would it show them cleaning up after themselves? They do show
They're
it
not
like
gonna
for explanation
videotape the
purposes.
doors.
But yeah, they'll show like here's how we wash our hair and here's how we clean up after we clip our nails. But would they do it right next to the vent? When ESA astronaut did that, she showed herself clipping right next to this vent, and then she took the little vacuum and sucked it up. But they're not going to show
Around
you
with
just cleaning the space station.
Dust buster with a small vacuum cleaner sucking things up. What do they do with the dust? Well, supposedly there's a trash disposal thing in the form of a re-entry vehicle, which strangely burns up on re-entry, even though the ones with humans inside supposedly survive.
Because they're fucking built
Oh my
different.
god damn it.
It
Oh
depends
my
on the
God,
angle you're coming into it.
No, and also, they're like you, dude. They're like you. They're built different.
Yes.
It's a very curious contradiction, but they have.
Well, let's see.
Oh my god.
Something that can survive re-entry is more expensive than something that can't.
Correct.
And if you
Yeah.
don't want the literal shit and piss, and I'm not saying that they don't bring it back in the manned vehicles, I don't know.
Right.
If there
Yeah, I
was a
believe-
vehicle that
yeah.
burned up, you would use it to send stuff back to the earth that you didn't want.
Correct. Right.
A trash disposal.
And also, the burning up depends on the angle you're coming into the atmosphere as well.
And if this is fake, why would we make this up? Why wouldn't we just say, "Oh no, it just gets up there and it's okay"? Like,
Yeah.
Why would we fake this bullshit?
And why would they just shoot the shit up into the low Earth orbit so that it could burn if there wasn't a purpose other than looking the pretties? Because it still costs the same amount of money.
Right.
That they put their trash into, but they never
Can-
talk
can I sh-
about the
Can I
dust.
quickly share
They
something?
never talk about the solid.
Sure.
Because like he was saying, like, oh, how do they get out? This is how they get out. They got 2 of this and one of these that they can get out of, and they got 2 of these cargo things. I'm not sure if there is a way
That's
to
a
use that for an
Soyuz,
escape.
so it should.
That's the one on the right. Yeah.
No,
The one on the
no.
bottom
That
is
is
Soyuz,
not,
right?
No,
Yeah.
that's a different. That's a
That's a progress. Okay. The one on the left,
so
bottom
that's,
left is
that's
the Soyuz,
cargo.
so.
But I could imagine that because it's quite similar than the Soyuz, that there is a
It
way
looks
to
very
use it to
similar.
escape. But like
Yeah.
still, like how many people can fit in one of those dragons? Like I believe that's 5, if I'm not mistaken.
And if it's just to get back to Earth, you're not going to be in it that long
Yeah.
from low Earth orbit.
And
Just saying.
we are
Yeah.
coming up on an hour and a
That's
half.
right.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah. So yeah, that's
No, this whole video is just denial and delusion and
yeah.
Terra
Insanity,
Times
stupid.
seeing what Terra Times wants to see. It's nothing more. You know?
Nah.
An idiot that doesn't know how math
Yeah,
size
misunderstanding.
and or he wants to claim that he's in the right, but obviously these things
Mhm.
work because like why would you fake these things again?
Makes no
And
yeah.
like a very like yeah, I also still have that little video that shows the dude using homemade shit to download images.
Isn't it?
Like I don't know. Want to share that?
Sure.
I could, like because I think we've heard that dick for long enough for now.
Hi, and welcome back
Right.
to the First Channel. Recently, I've noticed that one of my videos from a few years ago has gotten really popular, namely one where I'm tracking and downloading images from a Russian weather satellite. Now, that particular satellite seems to have caught fire or exploded or run into something or had some other issue where it's no longer sending down images, at least not on a frequency that I can pick up. Fortunately, they've just launched another one this week, so we're going to try to pick that one up. And I haven't seen anyone else do this yet on YouTube. I'm sure somebody has, and by the time this video comes out, there will probably be a bunch of people that have done this. I've seen it on
Right.
Reddit, other people listening to it. So it's definitely out there. The hobbyist amateur satellite community is already listening to the thing, and people are already getting some imagery from it. Tracking these Russian weather satellites can be challenging, not just in a technical and looking up in the sky perspective, but even just from a naming convention perspective. The folks over at Roscosmos site intuyo.com to track various space objects. I had to search on the website a little bit to find Meteor M23 because it's not in the list of commonly observed satellites yet. It's just too new. Once I clicked on that, I clicked. There's probably far more than enough.
Okay.
Let's get to some computer stuff. All right, I
Setup
think I'm
that he made
starting to
himself?
get a little bit of a signal here.
Okay. Wow.
These are sun synchronous satellites, so they usually come across early in the morning and late in the evening, which in the summer means that the sunlight is kind of directly on your screen if you're working with them outside. So on the Pi, I'm going to be trying a bash script called RTL SDR Recorder. It seems like it output an intermediate file, a raw file from the SDR, but it didn't do the rest of the processing. So I'm not quite sure if I can use that raw file, if I can run it through some more scripts and commands and get something out of it. That's always the problem with using an unfamiliar script from the internet. If you screw it up, if you don't use it quite right, especially for a time-sensitive operation like this, I'm not going to have another chance to try it for 12 hours or so until that satellite comes back overhead. So we've got our raw data file, which actually filled up the SD card on the Raspberry Pi, so it was just barely running, but I think we got the whole thing. I've moved that over to my other Linux computer so we can try to process it. Now, we could run it through SOX and all that math stuff like we did in the last video, but there's apparently this new program that's come out in the meantime called SatDump. Yes, here's the most thrilling part of any of my videos when we get to watch a bunch of random Linux code happening. Smash that like and subscribe button if you want to see more things compiling. Well, it's definitely trying to process it, but I don't think we're getting much yet. If we were getting a good decode, I think that fuzzy ball in the upper left there would break up into 4 fuzzy balls. All right, I can't make heads or tails of that raw file I got from the Raspberry Pi.
Jesus.
I think that just didn't work. So we're going to go back, Matt. So we're going to run SOX on that to turn it into a WAV file.
Okay, so what's
we're definitely getting those 4 splits towards the middle of the pass, so that's looking very promising. So we have some little strips of imagery here that came through. Okay, so we gave SatDump one more try with a couple different parameters. We've enabled DC blocking, and we've set the frequency shift to 1. So now, after we've processed that, we actually have more of an image. And it's a recognizable image. I can see the tip of Lake Superior here. That's not great, but it's not terrible. And the image quality is definitely higher than the NOAA satellites. The other cool thing about this image is you can actually see the curvature of the Earth. So the satellite came across right down the center here. Everything in the center looks flat. But if you look off to the right, Lake Erie and Lake Ontario look really distorted. And that's because we're seeing them on edge. We're seeing them basically looking around the curvature of the Earth. So
how fucking
they're
cool
curving
is
away
this?
from us.
Isn't that very
you
cool?
get the same effect
Very
on the
cool.
left in North and South Dakota, but there's nothing interesting over there. So it just looks flat either way. The signal wasn't as good up over Hudson's Bay,
thought
but it was
that
good
would
enough
do
that
it
you
like
can see
that,
some
but that's
color
amazing.
variations
No, I
in the
know.
squad.
Yeah, that is
That
amazing.
lighter blue stuff might be
look at-
silt, or it might be different temperatures.
I think that's all of it.
Cool. And this suspicious blue,
like
That's very cool.
fucking
very
awesome.
cool.
Like,
yeah.
and he's using a little computer. Like they if you get an expensive one like that's fast with a power supply, cables and shit, it's under $150.
Yeah.
And like, and just so you can see, let's see. I had an image but what kind of thing he's using for that? It's that little computer.
Little Raspberry
little
Pi.
computer like that.
Yeah.
Those are cool.
Yes.
They are amazing, and like especially the newer ones, like they're fast as fuck.
And then you can hook them up
actually
to Arduinos and all kinds of fun stuff.
Yeah, you can immediately the pins on there. You can program them to work with electronics. Like it's fun. It's really fun to mess around with. I've got a few laying around and a few Arduinos. But like that is they're fairly powerful. And like the fun thing about those things is like you can actually link them together.
Okay.
So like
and compute
you can
parallel.
make
I've seen
supercomputers
people
out of
make
those
render farms.
Yeah,
Oh, wow.
you can make supercomputers out of those little fuckers because you can basically just stack them. And the newer ones you can actually just run Windows on it. Like it's
awesome.
Very
pretty
cool.
amazing.
Very cool.
Yeah, and it's got Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, Ethernet. Like it's
Yep.
yeah.
Okay.
Like that is such a No, but like that video, when I saw that video, I was like, Flurf can't deny this.
No, I know, but they will find a way to deny it. That's the thing.
Because I'm like, there is a description of how he made the antenna himself.
Mm-hmm.
I'm kind of tempted to try. Like,
it ought to be a cool project.
That would be a
Yeah,
very
like-
cool project to see if you can duplicate it.
Yeah, like, and I don't know if there's any satellites coming close enough to me, but probably they will.
Oh,
but, like,
yes. They gotta
That's-
come near you.
that-
You
but,
got
like,
the UK right next door. You got France next door.
Mhm.
You got Denmark
Yeah.
next door.
yeah, and like we also get weather satellites, so
Yeah.
you know.
There you go.
But like, yeah, no, but no, but like, I saw that and that actually blew my mind, and like, I thought that was quite impressive. Like, just an amateur with one of the cheaper computers you can buy.
Yeah.
Like, it's not even $200, and then like the antenna he made with copper pipes. Like, I'm like, how the fuck did he make that? Like,
Yeah.
oh my god, so fucking impressive.
All right,
Like-
everybody. That
We'll
is
see ya.
awesome. And
Yes, very awesome.
anyone have anything they want to shill? Hopefully next week we'll do this. There is going to be sometime soon a stream on Slim's channel and a stream on my channel, 2-part, maybe more part, about Seven Mountains Dominionism, the first serious stream of the DSA, but we're going to do that separate from this.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
I
then
think
my
that's a good
normal
idea.
stuff. My normal stuff. So just everybody go there. Y'all
Yeah,
know
just keep
all the
keep it
stuff.
around on the Discords, and we'll
Yeah.
notify you when we upload content.
Yep, definitely.
Everyone, have a good night.
Have a good night, everybody. Thank you for
Bye.
coming. Bye.
Bye.